The accident stole everything. Not just the feeling in my legs, but the rhythm of my days, the weight of my independence, the future I'd sketched in the back of my mind like it was guaranteed. One moment I was running, literally running through Central Park, earbuds in, sweat slick on my skin, the city moving around me like I was part of something alive. The next, I was staring at hospital ceiling tiles for in my arm, the smell of antiseptic curling in my nose, and a doctor saying words like fracture, spinal, and recovery time unknown. The crash had been brutal. Some idiot too busy texting to notice the light change. I remembered the sound more than the impact. Metal and glass, and the scream of my own body breaking. That was 6 months ago. Since then, I hadn't run. I hadn't danced. I hadn't even walked. At first, I thought I'd be fine. Determined. Strong. I told myself I'd heal, I'd fight, I'd bounce back. But no one prepares you for the loneliness of losing your body. The betrayal of it. The way it turns simple things, showering, dressing, reaching for a damn cup, into acts that require help. And I hated needing help. I hated the look in people's eyes when they bent to meet mine. I hated the pity, the silence, the guilt. My friends drifted. My girlfriend left after the first month. Said it was too hard to watch me suffer. Said I'd changed. Maybe I had. Maybe broken ribs and broken pride did that. Maybe being told your body may never work the same again makes you someone else entirely. I was spiraling. Alone. Angry. I didn't want a caretaker. I wanted a miracle. What I got was her. She walked into my life on a Tuesday morning in March. I remember that because it was raining and I was already in a bad mood, snapping at the delivery guy who left my groceries at the wrong door. My physical therapist had warned me she'd be sending someone new, someone with a reputation for being tough but effective. I didn't want effective. I wanted to be left alone. And then she knocked. If you enjoyed this content and want to support the channel in a special way, try clicking the thanks button below. It's the one with the heart and $sign icon. With super thanks, you can make a direct contribution to the channel, which helps me keep creating awesome videos for you. I opened the door in my wheelchair, messy bun, hoodie that hadn't been washed in a week, and socks that didn't match. I didn't care what I looked like. I didn't care about anything. Until I saw her. She was tall. Calm. Confidence radiated off her like heat. Dark hair pulled back in a braid, sharp cheekbones, black jeans, and a fitted jacket that screamed more bodyguard than caregiver. She didn't smile, just nodded and said, "Hi, I'm Riley. I'll be working with you." Her voice was low, steady, no nonsense, and I hated how it made something stir in me. "You're late," I said. "Traffic," she replied simply. "May I come in?" I blinked. "You're not what I expected." "Good," she said, stepping inside. She didn't look at me with pity. Didn't try to lower her voice like I was fragile. She looked at me like I was a challenge. I didn't know whether to be pissed or intrigued. Maybe both. The first session was awkward. She asked questions. I gave short answers. She adjusted my posture. I rolled my eyes. She pushed me, gently but firmly, asking me to try movements I hadn't attempted in weeks. "I can't," I snapped at one point, frustrated. "Can't or won't?" she asked, arching a brow. "You don't know what this feels like." "You're right," she said. "I don't. But I know giving up when I see it." I glared. "You're really bad at bedside manner. I'm not here to make you comfortable. I'm here to help you walk again. If you want someone to coddle you, I'm not her." I should have told her to leave. I should have called the agency and demanded someone else. But I didn't. Because beneath the anger, there was something else. Heat. And not the kind that came from shame or embarrassment. She made me feel alive again. Furious, yes, but awake. Like someone had turned the lights back on. She came every day after that. Same time. Same calm confidence. And every day, I found myself resisting her a little less. I started trying harder. Started pushing myself. Not for her, I told myself. For me. But even I didn't fully believe it. One morning 3 weeks in, I fell. We were working on balance and my hand slipped. I went down hard, and I felt that panic rising in my throat, the helpless kind, the kind that made me feel like I was drowning inside my own skin. But before I could spiral, she was there, not panicking, not rushing, just there, her hand on my arm, her voice in my ear. "You're okay," she said. "I've got you." I looked up at her, blinking back tears. "I can't do this." "Yes, you can. I'm so tired of pretending I'm strong." "Then don't pretend. Be tired. Be angry. Be human. But don't stop." I couldn't breathe. Her hand was still on mine, her fingers warm and steady. I didn't want her to let go. She helped me up, didn't carry me, just offered her hand and let me lean into her. My body shook the entire time, not from pain, from something else, something that settled under my skin and wouldn't leave. That night, I dreamed of her hands, of the way she looked at me like I wasn't broken, like I was still worth fighting for, like I mattered. And when I woke up, I realized something terrifying. I wanted her to stay, not just as a therapist, not just as a helper. I wanted her, the woman who took my hand when I couldn't walk and somehow made me feel like I could fly. Something had changed. I felt it the second she walked through the door that morning. Riley always brought this grounded presence with her, this steady energy that settled a room even when my body felt like a war zone. But today it was different. Or maybe I was. Because now, when she looked at me, it didn't just calm me. It made me ache. "You didn't sleep," she said as soon as she saw me. I shrugged, wheeling back from the window where I'd been watching the street below. "How could you tell?" "Your eyes. And your sarcasm's slower than usual." I smirked, but she was right. I'd spent most of the night tossing and turning, her voice echoing in my head. "You're okay. I've got you." And it wasn't the words that haunted me. It was the way she said them. Steady. Fierce. Like someone who didn't just mean them, but would live them. "What kept you up?" she asked as she dropped her bag by the couch. I hesitated, then lied. "Pain." "You took your meds?"
"No."
I didn't want to be groggy for this.
She paused.
"You didn't want to be vulnerable around me." I looked away. "Is that so bad?" "No," she said quietly. "It's human." The air between us thickened, and suddenly I felt exposed in a way that had nothing to do with my body and everything to do with the way she saw me. "Let's get started," I said, needing to shift the tension before it swallowed me. But there was no escaping it. Because every movement she guided me through, every time her hand steadied my waist or brushed along my shoulder, my skin burned. Not from pain, but from awareness. I didn't know when it had started. This undercurrent of heat, of want. But now that I'd noticed it, I couldn't unfeel it. And I hated it. Because it was dangerous. Because I was fragile. And because she was the only person who didn't treat me like I was. "Good," she said after I completed a transfer from chair to standing bars, her voice low. "You're getting stronger." "I don't feel strong," I muttered. "Then feel stubborn," she said. "You've got that in spades." I laughed before I could stop myself, and she smiled, really smiled, and it hit me like a shot of something addictive. God, she was beautiful when she let her guard down. "Let's try one more round," she said, stepping closer to adjust the strap at my waist. Her fingers grazed my stomach, and my breath caught. She froze. Our eyes locked. And for one terrifying, magnetic second, I thought she was going to kiss me. I wanted her to. I almost leaned in. But she pulled back, her expression shuddered, her hands suddenly businesslike. "You're doing great," she said, all professionalism now. "Let's keep going." But I couldn't. My body was trembling too hard. Not from exertion. From something else. "I need a break," I said, voice thin. She nodded, giving me space, but I could see the tension in her jaw. She felt it too. The crackle. The shift. The pull. After she left that day, I sat in the shower until the water turned cold, trying to sort through the mess in my head. I couldn't fall for her. That wasn't how this worked. She was here to help me heal, not to blur lines that could leave us both wrecked. But my body didn't care. My heart didn't care. And when I dreamed that night, it was of her again. But this time, it wasn't about being saved. It was about touch. Her lips against mine. Her hands on my waist. Her mouth whispering my name like it meant something. The next morning, I told myself I'd keep my distance. I told myself I'd be cool, polite, detached. But that resolve lasted about 5 seconds after she walked in, rain dripping from her jacket, hair slicked back, jaw tense. "You okay?" Asked before I could stop myself. "I should ask you that," she said, not meeting my eyes. "You were quiet yesterday." "So were you." I didn't want to make things uncomfortable. "Too late," I muttered. Her head snapped up.
What?
"Nothing."
No.
"Say it." I hesitated. Then, with a sharp exhale, I said, "I can't do this if you're going to pretend there's nothing happening." Silence. Heavy. Brutal. She took a step toward me, her eyes unreadable. "What do you think is happening?" "You know damn well what's happening," I snapped. "Every time you touch me, every time you look at me like that, it's not nothing." She didn't deny it, just stared. Then slowly, softly, she said, "I know. I've been trying to ignore it."
Because this is supposed to be about you.
"Your recovery. Your space. Not this." "Then why do I feel like I'm falling?" I whispered. "Because I am too," she said, her voice raw. "And it scares the shit out of me." She came closer, slow and deliberate. "But I'd rather be scared than lie to you." My breath hitched. Her hand hovered near mine. "May I?" she asked. I nodded. Her fingers laced with mine, and something electric moved between us. She sat beside me, eyes never leaving mine. "I didn't mean for this to happen," she said. "Neither did I whispered. "But I don't want to fight it anymore." Her hand slid to my cheek.
She leaned in.
And when her lips met mine, slow, cautious, reverent, I felt everything inside me unravel. Not in fear, not in pain, but in release. I kissed her back. Like I meant it. Like I needed it. And she kissed me like I was whole. When we finally pulled apart, she rested her forehead against mine. "This changes things."
Good, I said.
"Let it change everything." She didn't stay that night. We weren't ready. But when she left, she paused in the doorway.
"Tomorrow," she said.
"We try again. With everything." "I'll be ready." And for the first time in months, I meant it.
I didn't sleep that night.
Not because of pain this time, but because I couldn't stop replaying that kiss. Over and over. The way her hand cradled my cheek, the quiet way she asked for permission, the fire that burned beneath her lips no matter how gentle she tried to be. It wasn't a kiss meant to fix me. It wasn't pity. It was want. Pure, undeniable, terrifying want. And I wanted her back. I'd never been kissed like that before. Like someone saw past the cast, past the limitations, past the chair. Like I wasn't broken, I was burning. I thought she might text. She didn't. And I didn't either. Not because I didn't want to, but because some things were better said in person. And we had a habit of saying a lot with our eyes. She arrived right on time the next morning. No hesitation. No tension. Just her, standing in the doorway with that same calm intensity that had haunted me for weeks. "Hey," I said, wheeling toward her. "Hi." A pause. Her eyes flicked to my lips. I bit the inside of my cheek to keep from smiling. "I didn't regret it," I said. "The kiss." Her shoulders relaxed, visibly. "Neither did I." She set her bag down and walked toward me, but she didn't touch me. She stood close, close enough that I could smell her shampoo, that my body reacted instinctively, but she kept her hands at her sides. "Are you sure about this?" she asked. "About us." I've never been more sure of anything. Her eyes softened. "Then let's go slow." "I'm not going anywhere fast," I joked, tapping my chair. She smirked, but her gaze grew serious again. "I mean it. I don't want to be something that complicates your healing, or makes it harder." "Riley," I said, reaching for her hand, "you've already made everything easier." Her fingers curled around mine like it was the most natural thing in the world. And maybe it was. Okay, she whispered. Then let's do this right. That session, everything felt different. There was still work, hard work, sweat and effort, and a few breathless curses when my body didn't cooperate. But she touched me more gently, encouraged me with small smiles and soft praise that made my heart stutter. That's it, she murmured as I gripped the bars and pulled myself upright. That's my girl. My knees wobbled, and not just from the strain. Your girl? I asked, panting. Her eyes twinkled. Don't get cocky. Too late, I grinned. That night, she stayed. Not overnight.
Not yet.
But after the session, I offered her dinner, and she said yes. I ordered Thai. She set the table, and we sat side by side like two people who'd been doing this for years. She ate slowly, watching me from across the candle I'd lit without thinking. You know, she said, when I first got assigned to you, I was warned. I blinked. Warned. They said you were difficult. Guarded. Cold. I laughed, a little embarrassed. Sounds about right. But they didn't say anything about how funny you are, or how stubborn, or how goddamn brave. My throat tightened. You think I'm brave? I know you are. I didn't know how to respond. No one had ever said that to me without making it sound like a Hallmark card. She said it like she meant it, like she saw me. We sat in silence for a few minutes after that. Not awkward, just full. Eventually, she stood, took our plates to the sink, and turned to me with a look I couldn't quite place. I should go, she said. Early session tomorrow. I nodded, but I didn't want her to leave. And she knew it. She walked over, knelt in front of my chair, and took my face in both hands. Can I kiss you again? Yes.
She did.
Slower this time.
Deeper.
Her thumb stroked my cheeks, and I opened my mouth for her like it was instinct. Our tongues met, soft, deliberate, electric, and my entire body lit up. I forgot the pain.
The chair. The doubt.
I just felt wanted. When we pulled apart, her forehead rested against mine. I'm trying not to fall too fast, she whispered. Then don't try, I said. Just fall. Her breath hitched. You're dangerous. You started it. She laughed softly, kissed the tip of my nose, and stood. I'll text you when I get home. I'll wait for it. When the door closed behind her, I sat in the dark, heart pounding, lips tingling, and realized I was smiling. Not just at her, but at the fact that for the first time in months, I felt like me again. The next few days became a rhythm I craved. Therapy meals, quiet touches, long looks, kisses that lingered at the door. I started noticing everything about her. How her lashes fluttered when she was deep in thought. The way her laugh rumbled in her chest. How her hands were always warm, even in the cold. One afternoon, I asked her to stay longer. She hesitated. If I stay, I'm not going to want to leave. Then don't. Her eyes locked with mine. Say that again. Stay, I whispered. Please.
She did.
That night, she lay on the couch beside me, my head on her chest, her fingers running through my hair. We didn't talk much. We didn't need to. And when I looked up and found her already staring at me, her lips parted like she'd been holding back a confession. I felt it.
The shift.
The surrender. I'm falling for you, she said. Hard. My chest exploded. Then let me fall with you. She leaned down, kissed me slow, and whispered against my mouth, I've got you. And I knew. No matter what happened next, whatever recovery looked like, whatever challenges still waited, she wouldn't let me fall alone. Not ever again. I don't know who moved first. Maybe it was both of us at once. Some invisible thread finally snapping after weeks of tension, of soft brushes, of lips barely held back. One moment, we were on the couch, her fingers gently stroking my arm, the weight of her confession still hanging between us like smoke. And the next, her mouth was on mine.
Not hesitant this time.
Not careful.
Hungry.
Desperate.
Honest.
She kissed like she'd been holding it in, like every second of restraint was now spilling out in waves. Her hands cradled my face, thumb stroking my jaw as her lips moved against mine with slow, aching precision. I opened for her, eager, breathless, and she deepened the kiss, her tongue sliding against mine with a tenderness that made my chest ache. I couldn't breathe.
Didn't want to.
I just wanted more. She pulled back just enough to whisper, "Tell me if this is too much." "It's not," I said, voice raw. "I've never wanted anything more." Her eyes searched mine, and whatever she saw there made her decision. She stood slowly, offering her hand. I took it. She helped me up, carefully, always careful, and together we moved toward the bedroom. She didn't rush. She never did. She moved like she knew the exact rhythm of my body, the pace it needed to feel safe. I sat at the edge of the bed, heart hammering as she knelt before me and unlaced my shoes, her fingers ghosting over my ankles, my calves, her touch reverent. She looked up. "Still okay?" "Yes," I breathed. "Keep going." She undressed me with patient hands, peeling back layers like I was something sacred. When her fingers brushed the scar on my hip, she didn't flinch. She kissed it, softly, deliberately, and I felt something in me shatter. "You're so beautiful," she murmured, voice thick. "You have no idea." I reached for her shirt, tugged it up, and she let me strip it away. Her skin was golden in the dim light, muscles lean and smooth, and I ran my hands over her stomach, her ribs, marveling at the way she trembled under my touch. "You've been so strong for me," I whispered. "Let me be that for you now." She climbed onto the bed, straddling me carefully, her body pressing gently against mine as she cupped my face and kissed me again, slower this time, deeper. I could taste the restraint in her, the way she was holding herself back. "You don't have to protect me from this," I whispered against her lips. "I'm not breakable." "I know," she said, voice hoarse. "But I still want to treat you like something precious." Her mouth moved to my neck, to my collarbone, her hands mapping my body like a territory she'd waited a lifetime to explore. I arched into her touch, my breath catching as her fingers slid over my skin, learning me. And when she finally lowered herself, when her lips moved down my body, when her hands parted my thighs, and she paused to look up at me one last time, I nodded. "Yes," I whispered. "Please." She kissed me like a prayer, touched me like a promise. Every inch of me came alive under her hands, her mouth, her body moving with mine in a rhythm that felt like music, like poetry, like something holy. I'd never felt this way before, never felt seen like this. Every moan that escaped me was answered by a touch, a kiss, a whisper of my name. When I came undone, it wasn't violent, it was soft, infinite. And she held me through it, her arms wrapping around me as I trembled, her lips on my forehead, my cheek, my mouth. "I've got you," she whispered. "Always." I pulled her close, kissed her neck, her shoulder, the curve of her breast. My hands moved over her with purpose, with gratitude, with need. And when she shivered under my touch, when she let go in my arms, I felt powerful. Not because I had control, but because I was trusted with her vulnerability. We stayed wrapped in each other after, tangled in sheets and silence, our breaths slowly evening out. I ran my fingers down her spine, memorizing her curves, the dip of her waist, the rise and fall of her chest. Was that I started, unsure of how to even describe it. She smiled, sleepy and soft. "Everything." I laughed, pressing my face into her shoulder. I didn't think I'd ever feel this again. Feel what?
Alive. Desired.
Enough. She rolled us gently, so she was on top of me, supporting her weight on her elbows as she kissed me slowly. "You were always enough," she said. "You just forgot. Let me help you remember." I blinked back tears. "You're dangerous, you know." "How so?" "You're making me believe in things again." "Good," she said. "Believe in us." We fell asleep like that, skin against skin, heart steady. In the middle of the night, I woke to find her watching me. "What?" I whispered. "Nothing," she said, brushing a strand of hair from my cheek. "I'm just really fucking in love with you." My breath caught. Say it again. I'm in love with you. I pulled her down into a kiss.
Then stay.
Always. I already am. And in that moment, I knew I wasn't just healing. I was falling in love with her, with the version of myself she helped me believe in again. The morning after didn't feel like an aftermath. It felt like a beginning. I woke up with her wrapped around me, her arm draped lazily across my stomach, her breath warm against the back of my neck. I didn't move. I didn't want to. For the first time in months, maybe longer, I felt like the version of myself I thought I'd lost in that crash. The one who smiled without forcing it, who didn't flinch when someone touched her, who didn't have to fight just to feel like she mattered. Riley stirred slowly, pressing a soft kiss between my shoulder blades. "Good morning," she murmured, her voice sleep-rough and addictive. "Morning," I whispered back, covering her hand with mine. "Are you sore?" she asked, a hint of concern slipping into her tone. "A little, but not in a bad way." She laughed, low and quiet. "Good." I was trying to be gentle, but also thorough. "You were," I said, grinning. "Very thorough." She rolled me gently onto my back and kissed me, her hair falling around my face like a curtain, shutting out the world. "Your trouble," I whispered when she finally pulled away. "You like trouble," she said. "I think I'm in love with it." Her smile faded a little. "Are you sure?" "About loving you?" I nodded, fingers brushing her jaw. I've never been more sure of anything. The way she looked at me in that moment, like I was the only thing she'd ever wanted, it made my heart ache in the best way. We stayed in bed longer than we should have, tangled in sheets and whispers and kisses that didn't lead to more, just lingered like they didn't want to end. But life didn't pause just because we had. I had physical therapy later that day, my first session at the clinic since the accident. Riley wouldn't be the one running it, not in a professional setting, and the thought of facing other people again, seeing the stares, hearing the fake encouragements, tightened something in my chest. "You okay?" she asked, watching me dress. "Not really," I admitted. "It's the first time I'll be out there since everything." She came up behind me and rested her hands on my shoulders. "You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Just walk in. That's enough." "Easy for you to say. You're not the one they'll be watching." "No," she said softly. "But I am the one who'll be waiting for you when it's over." That helped. A little. Enough. The clinic was sterile and loud, and full of people who looked like they had somewhere better to be. I tried to focus. Tried to listen. Tried to block out the girl behind the front desk whispering something to a coworker as I passed. Riley wasn't far. She stayed in the waiting area, out of uniform, pretending to scroll her phone. But I could feel her watching, anchoring me. I finished the session. It wasn't perfect. My body fought me. My mind fought harder. But I did it. And when I wheeled back out, sweaty and tense, Riley stood up immediately. "You did great. You didn't even see it. I didn't have to. You walked in. You walked out. That's enough." She took me to lunch. A quiet place, tucked into a corner of the city where no one cared who you were or who you were with. We sat outside. The sun was warm on my face. Riley leaned back in her chair, sunglasses perched on her head, fingers lazily tracing the rim of her glass. And then it happened. A woman walked by.
Pretty. Confident.
Familiar. She glanced at Riley.
Slowed.
Smiled. "Hey," she said. "It's been a while." Riley tensed. "Hey, Emma. Didn't expect to see you around here. You look good." "Thanks." Emma looked at me, and something in her expression shifted. Curiosity. Maybe even recognition. "Well, I'll let you two get back to it. Take care." Riley forced a smile. "You too." I watched Emma walk away, then turned to Riley. "Old friend." "Something like that," she said. "Ex." Riley hesitated.
Yeah.
Brief. Intense. Ended badly. Does she know about me?
No.
Not yet. That stung. I looked down at my lap. "Are you hiding me?"
No. God, no.
We're new. And I didn't want to drag you into that mess. So, I'm not a secret. Just undisclosed. She sighed, reaching for my hand. You're not a secret. You're mine. I just want to protect this for a little while longer. From what? I asked. From the way people ruin good things. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not because of Emma, but because I realized something terrifying. I wanted more. Not just kisses and sleepovers. I wanted to be seen with her.
Claimed.
Held in the light. Not just the quiet. The next morning, I said it. I don't want to be something you only love in private. Riley froze. You think that's what I'm doing? I think you're scared. Of losing you?
Yeah.
Terrified. Then trust me, I said. Like I trusted you. Let the world see what I already know, that we're real. She kissed me hard.
Fierce. Certain.
And later that day, she did something I didn't expect. She posted a picture.
Us.
On the couch. Her hand on my thigh, my head resting on her shoulder. No caption. No explanation. Just us. Are you sure? I asked. No, she said, but I'm done hiding. The response was instant. Messages. Reactions. Some sweet. Some brutal. But she didn't care. She held my hand tighter. That night, when we made love again, it was different. Not softer. Not sweeter. Just sure.
Certain. Claimed.
And when she whispered my name into the dark, I whispered hers back with a promise. I wasn't going anywhere.
Not now.
Not ever. It wasn't the picture that changed things. It was the silence after. Riley had posted it in a moment of bravery, a quiet rebellion against fear, and I loved her for it. But bravery doesn't shield you from fallout. And the fallout came. Quietly at first. A coworker giving her a too long look. A friend she hadn't spoken to in months suddenly liking old photos, only to unfollow her a day later. Then it got louder. Her boss asked for a meeting. Someone from the clinic called her in just to clarify a few things. No one said it directly. No one accused. But the subtext was there. She'd posted a picture of herself wrapped around a patient, someone she was supposed to be helping, not touching, not loving.
Someone like me.
They don't know we're not working together anymore, she said one night, her fingers tangled in mine as we lay on the couch. They think I'm still your therapist. That I crossed a line. Do you want me to take it down? I asked, heart in my throat. No, she said instantly.
God, no.
I'd post it again 100 times. I didn't expect them to react like this. People don't like what they can't label. Or control. Or judge from a distance, I added. Exactly. Her job wasn't in danger, not yet, but it was clear things were shifting. People were whispering. Watching. She said she didn't care. That I mattered more. But I saw it in her eyes. How the weight pressed on her. How it made her shoulders tighter at the end of the day. How she hesitated before kissing me in public now. Not out of shame. Out of exhaustion. And I hated it. Because she shouldn't have to choose between me and her life. Between love and career. Between truth and comfort. Maybe I should talk to them, I offered. Tell them we're not crossing boundaries. That we didn't start this until after your sessions ended. They won't believe you, she said quietly. They've already decided. Then let them. I snapped. Let them lose you. You deserve better anyway. But I knew that was easy for me to say. I wasn't the one being pushed into corners, forced to prove that loving me wasn't a mistake. I wasn't the one who had built a reputation brick by brick, only to watch people chip away at it the second I stepped into the frame. One night, she came home late. I could tell by the look on her face that something had happened. Emma saw the post, she said before I could ask. She messaged me. Said she hopes you're worth it. Wow, I muttered. Charming. She always did know how to hit below the belt. Do you regret it? I asked, hating how small my voice sounded. Posting it. Choosing me. Her eyes went wide. She dropped her bag and crossed the room in 2 long strides, falling to her knees in front of me. Don't you ever ask me that again. Riley, you are everything, okay? If I lost everything else, my job, my friends, all of it, and still had you, I'd survive. I'd start over. You're not the mistake. You're the reason I want to fight it all. My throat closed. I cupped her face, kissed her hard, desperate to seal that truth between us. I just don't want to be the thing that breaks you, I whispered. You're the thing that healed me, she whispered back. And then she proved it again. That night, she made love to me like the world outside didn't exist. Her touch wasn't rushed or frantic, it was reverent. She stripped me slowly, worshipped every scar, every curve, every soft breath I gave her. She touched me like I was art, like I was the thing that kept her grounded.
I let her see me.
All of me, my strength, my fear, my need. And when I cried because it was too much, too beautiful, she held me tighter and whispered, "You never have to hide with me. Even when I'm a mess?" Especially then. We didn't sleep much, but in the hours before dawn, she wrapped herself around me and said, "I'm thinking about quitting." What? I turned, blinking at her in the dark. The clinic. The whole damn job. Riley, I want to do something else. Something where I'm not constantly pretending to be someone I'm not. I want freedom. I want peace. I want us. But that's your career. Maybe. Or maybe it was just a stepping stone to something better. Something mine. You're serious. I'm so serious, she said, kissing my shoulder. Would you be okay with that? With me not being the woman in the perfect little uniform anymore? I laughed. I never wanted the uniform. I wanted you. She sighed against my skin. Then I think it's time I finally do what I want, not what looks right. In the morning, she did it. Walked into the clinic, handed in her resignation, walked out free. I picked her up outside. She got in the car and just stared at me. I feel weightless. You look like you just took your first breath in years.
I did, she said.
And I want to spend the rest of them with you. I drove us home. We ordered pizza, danced barefoot in the living room, drank cheap wine, and laughed until we couldn't breathe. And when she pulled me into her arms and whispered, "This is where I'm supposed to be," I knew. The world might not understand us, might judge us, try to make us feel small. But it didn't matter, because we had each other.
And that was enough.
That was everything. The first time it happened, I didn't believe it. I was in the apartment alone, standing at the kitchen counter, trying to reach a glass from the middle shelf. I hated asking for help with small things, especially now that Riley had quit her job, had risked everything just to be with me. She never said it like that. Never made me feel like I owed her anything.
But I felt it anyway.
This quiet need to show her she hadn't given everything up for someone who'd never change. So, I tried. Shifted my weight forward. Pressed my palms into the countertop. And stood. Not for long. Not far. But enough. My body shook under me, every muscle screaming from the strain, but for the first time in months, I stood without help. No bars. No braces.
Just me.
My legs. My will. I gasped, gripping the counter like it was my lifeline, staring down at my feet as if they belonged to someone else. They were holding me. They were holding me. Holy shit, I whispered. I didn't cry. I didn't move. I just breathed. When Riley got home, I told her everything. She dropped her bag. Her eyes went wide. You stood for like 6 seconds, maybe 5. But you did it. I nodded. I did. She crossed the room, knelt in front of me like she always did when she needed to meet me where I was, and cupped my face. I'm so proud of you. You helped me get here. You got yourself here. Not alone. She leaned in and kissed me, a kiss full of awe and something else, something a little like fear. I felt it.
I didn't say anything.
But I felt it. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the way her eyes had looked when I told her.
Bright, yes.
Full of pride, absolutely. But also uncertain, distant, like something had shifted, even if neither of us wanted to name it yet. Over the next few weeks, I stood again. Then I took a step. Then another. It wasn't easy. My body still fought me. My legs were unsteady. But the strength was coming back. Little by little. Riley was with me every step. Cheering. Helping. Watching. And that was the problem. She was watching, like she was waiting for something. One night, I finally said it. You're pulling away. She looked up from the book she'd been pretending to read. What? You're quieter.
Distant.
Every time I get better, you flinch. That's not true. It is. And I need to know why. She closed the book, set it down, took a long breath. Because I'm scared. Of what? Of not being needed anymore. My heart dropped. Riley, I know it's irrational, she said quickly. I know this is what we've wanted from the beginning.
For you to stand. To walk.
To move without help. But part of me keeps thinking, what happens when you don't need me anymore? You think I'm only with you because I needed someone? I think sometimes people cling to what saves them. And I don't want to be your crutch. I want to be your choice. I moved toward her, one step at a time, slow and steady, and sat beside her on the couch. You were never my crutch, I said. You were my breath when I couldn't breathe. You were the voice in my ear when I wanted to give up. You were my partner, Riley. And you still are. But it's changing, she whispered. And I don't know how to be the one on the sidelines. Then don't be. I took her hand and placed it on my chest. Be right here. With me. As I change, you stay. That's all I want. Her eyes filled with tears. I just love you so much. It scares me. Good, I said, smiling through my own tears. Me too. She pulled me into her arms, and we held each other like we were both trying to relearn how to love through change. And maybe we were, but we were learning.
And that was enough.
The next day, we went to the park. For the first time since the accident. I had a cane. Riley held my arm, not because I couldn't walk without her, but because I wanted her there. We moved slowly, step by step, past trees and benches, and the life I thought I'd never return to. People watched. Some smiled. Some stared. I didn't care. Because I wasn't walking back into my old life. I was walking forward into a new one with her. When we got home, I collapsed into her arms, breathless but smiling. I did it. You did, she said, eyes shining. And you weren't alone. Never, I whispered. That night, when we lay together, legs tangled, lips brushing, I whispered. You were there when I couldn't walk. You held my hand when I didn't believe I ever would again. And now that I can, I'm still holding on. And I'll never let go, she said. And she meant it. Walking didn't fix everything. It didn't erase the trauma, the pain, or the way my body still ached in places I didn't know could hold memory. It didn't give me back the months I spent wondering if I'd ever feel whole again. But it gave me something else. Hope. And that hope scared me more than anything. Because once you start believing in something again, you have something to lose. Riley saw it. The hesitation in my steps, the way my shoulders tensed whenever we talked about next. Because what was next? The recovery wasn't over. Not physically. Not emotionally. And I didn't know how to be this version of myself that was getting better and still broken. You've been quiet, she said one evening as we lay curled together on the couch, a movie playing in the background, untouched wine on the table. Just thinking, I murmured. About. I hesitated. Do you ever wonder if this is it? What do you mean? This life. This version of us. What if I don't get better than this? What if I can walk, sure, but I'll always be tired? Scared? Not quite the person I was before. Riley didn't answer right away. She shifted, turning to face me fully, her hand sliding gently over my hip, grounding me. Then I love this version of you. With every scar, every fear, every inch of softness that came from everything you've been through. I didn't fall for the girl who ran 5 miles before sunrise. I fell for the one who refused to give up when life knocked her flat. My eyes filled. But what if I'm hard to love like this? Then I'll love you harder, she said simply. I pulled her close, pressing my face into her neck, and let the tears fall silently. Because I believed her. And that terrified me too. Later that night, as I moved through my evening stretches, Riley knelt behind me on the rug, her hands resting gently on my back, her voice guiding me through each breath. "You're getting stronger," she said softly. "You don't say that like it's just physical." "Because it's not. It still scares me," I admitted. "That one day you'll wake up and miss the girl who needed you more." "I miss nothing," she whispered. "I'm right where I want to be." I turned toward her, eyes searching hers, and she leaned in, kissing me with that familiar heat, steady, claiming, endless. Her hands moved over me slowly, like she was tracing every piece of me that had changed and every piece that hadn't. I let her undress me right there on the floor, let her press me down against the blanket like she needed to feel me grounded. Her mouth followed the lines of my body, and when she slid between my legs, her touch was worship, not possession. I moaned her name, soft and low, my fingers tangling in her hair as her tongue moved with slow, maddening precision. I couldn't think, could barely breathe. And when she brought me to the edge, then over it, I felt the release in more than just my body. I felt it in my soul. She moved back up, kissed me deeply, and whispered against my lips, "That's what I want. That's who I want.
You. Now."
Always." I kissed her back, hard, pulling her on top of me until we were skin to skin, chest to chest, breath sinking as our hearts pounded together. We made love for hours.
Not fast.
Not desperate. Just full of the kind of quiet knowing that only comes from surviving something side by side. The next morning, I stood by the stove making coffee while Riley sat at the kitchen island, watching me like I was a sunrise. "I want to go back," I said. She looked up. "Back. To school.
To work.
To life." Her eyes lit up. "Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to hide anymore. I want to build something again. Then we'll figure it out. Together." "You're not scared?" "I'm excited," she said. "Watching you come back to yourself. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Even with the hard days? Especially then." I walked over, placed her mug in front of her, and leaned down to kiss her. "Then let's start making plans." And we did. Over the next few weeks, we built a new rhythm. I took steps, literal and figurative, toward rebuilding a life beyond recovery. Riley started researching ways to launch her own wellness program, one that would let her help people without the red tape of clinics and judgment. We shared ideas over breakfast, laughed while brushing our teeth, kissed in between chores.
We lived.
And for the first time in a long time, it didn't feel like a borrowed life. It felt like ours. One night, after dinner, she took my hand and placed something small in my palm.
A key.
"What's this?" I asked. "To the studio space I rented. It's nothing fancy. Just 4 walls and potential. Like us." I laughed, holding the key tight. "You're serious?" "Dead serious. I'm going to build something real. And I want you to be part of it." "I already am," I said, pulling her into a kiss that tasted like beginnings. That night, we stood in front of the mirror brushing our teeth, half asleep, hair messy, pajamas mismatched, and I looked over at her, foam in her mouth, and thought, this is it. This is what love looks like after the storm. Not perfect. Not flashy. Just real. Just us. The first time someone offered me a job again, I froze. It was a small writing gig, freelance, nothing major, but it came with a deadline, an email signature, and expectations. I stared at the message for over an hour, rereading the offer, waiting for the rush of excitement I used to feel at the idea of new work. But all I felt was fear. What if I couldn't do it? What if I said yes and failed? What if I didn't have that version of myself inside me anymore? "Say yes," Riley said from the kitchen, as if she'd read my thoughts. "You don't even know what it is." "Don't need to. I know you." I turned to face her. "What if I can't handle it? Then you'll stop. You'll try again later. But you're not that girl in the hospital bed anymore. And you sure as hell aren't the one who thought she'd never stand up again." "I'm scared." "I know. Do it anyway." So I did. I said yes. And just like that, my life tilted again, subtly but definitely. Riley kissed me that night like I was already winning, like the moment I chose to believe in myself again was enough reason to celebrate. Proud of you, she whispered against my lips. Every version of you. Over the next few weeks, our days got busier. She started pouring herself into the studio, taking meetings, drafting plans, sketching out classes, and community ideas like it was already alive. And it was. It was alive. I saw it in her eyes, the spark I hadn't seen when she was working under someone else's system. Now she was free, and watching her thrive was addictive. But with new beginnings came distance. Subtle at first. A missed breakfast. A late night at the studio. A yawn during one of our movie nights. We still loved each other fiercely, but real life was moving in. Not as an enemy, but as a reminder that even love needs attention. One night I made dinner. Something simple. Pasta and salad. I set the table. Lit a candle. She was an hour late. When she walked in, distracted, phone in hand, her eyes lit up for only a second before guilt flickered across her face.
Shit.
I forgot. It's okay, I lied. She dropped her bag, walked over, and wrapped her arms around me from behind. I'm sorry. Things got crazy at the studio. The contractor was late, then the flooring delivery came early, and It's okay? I repeated. No, it's not, she said, turning me gently to face her. You went all out and I blew it. You didn't blow it. You showed up. That's enough. You sure? I just miss you. That landed. Her eyes softened. She cupped my face. I miss us too. I'll do better. And she did. The next morning, she brought me coffee in bed. Left a note on the counter with lipstick on the corner. Tonight is just us. I promise. That night, we stayed in bed for hours. Naked. Twined together. Talking about everything and nothing. Can I ask you something? I said, tracing circles on her stomach. Anything. If I'd never gotten hurt, do you think we still would have happened? She was quiet for a long moment. Honestly, I don't know. That's fair. But I think we would have noticed each other. Eventually. Maybe slower. Maybe messier. But I would have ended up in your orbit. You're in my heart, I whispered. That's bigger than orbit. She smiled, kissed me, and didn't stop. That night was different. Not because it was more passionate, but because it felt like we were loving each other through the future. Like our bodies were remembering what it was like to choose someone on a Tuesday night, without drama, without pain. Just softness. Just want. The next week, I got an offer for a permanent role. Remote, part-time, but serious. A real step back into the world I'd left behind. I said yes. Riley screamed when I told her. Picked me up, spun me around the living room until I was laughing so hard I could barely breathe. Look at you, she said, holding me close. Standing. Thriving. Writing. Living. Loving, I added. She kissed me like I was oxygen. But not all news was easy. One afternoon, while I was prepping notes for a new piece, I got a message from someone I hadn't heard from in almost a year.
Hey.
I saw your photo with Riley. You look incredible. I'd love to meet for coffee.
Just to talk.
My ex. I stared at the message for a long time. Riley came home as I was still sitting with it open on my phone. What's that look? She asked. I handed her the phone. She read the message. Her face stayed still, but I saw her jaw tighten. Are you going? Do you want me to? She hesitated. I trust you, but I don't trust her. Then I won't go. No, she said. You should, if you want to. I don't. Are you sure? I nodded. She's part of the past that made me believe I wasn't enough. You're the part of the future that reminds me I always was. That night, we lay in bed, her head on my chest, and I whispered, I've never wanted anyone the way I want you. Even when I was at my lowest, I never felt small in your eyes. She looked up, her fingers brushing my cheek. That's because you never were. You were always this version of you. You just couldn't see her yet. You did. I always will. I kissed her, slow and deep, and felt everything we'd been through surge between us. The pain, the growth, the fire, the healing, the choice. Always the choice. We chose each other in the darkest moments. And now, We were choosing each other in the light. The apartment smelled like vanilla and rosemary. There were candles lit on the table, music playing low from the speaker in the corner, and Riley moving around the kitchen in a t-shirt that belonged to me. It was our anniversary, not of the day we kissed, not of the night we first made love, but the day she first took my hand and said, "I've got you." The day I fell and she caught me, not just physically but emotionally, completely. "You're staring," she said, smiling without turning around. "You like what you see?" "I always do," I said, walking slowly into the room. No cane. No hesitation. My steps were steady now. Strong. And every time she looked at me like that, eyes soft, mouth parted slightly in admiration, it reminded me that the most powerful kind of healing doesn't just come from doctors or time. It comes from being seen. We ate dinner curled up on the couch, feeding each other bites between laughter and kisses. It was simple, quiet, the opposite of dramatic. And it felt perfect. After we cleaned up, Riley took my hand and pulled me to the center of the living room. "Dance with me," she said. "There's no music. We don't need it." I let her lead. Her hand slid around my waist, the other holding mine gently as we swayed. It was slow, clumsy in places, but real. Our foreheads touched, our breathing synced, and I closed my eyes, melting into her body like I was still learning how to belong somewhere, and she was reminding me I already did. "I have something for you," she whispered. "A present. More like a promise." She stepped back and reached into her pocket, pulling out a small black box.
My heart paused.
She opened it. Inside was a ring. Not a diamond. Not flashy. Just a simple gold band with 2 initials carved inside. H+R. I looked up at her, breath caught. "Is this?" "It's not a proposal," she said, stepping closer.
Not yet.
"But it's a promise. That I'm here. That I'm not going anywhere. That no matter how your body changes, or mine, or how life twists around us, I will still be standing beside you." "I thought I was the one who had to be held up," I said, voice thick. "You hold me too," she whispered. "Every damn day." I slid the ring onto my finger, and something in my chest cracked open, this overwhelming rush of peace I hadn't felt in years. Not just safety. Belonging. "I love you," I said. "More than I ever thought I could love anyone." "I know," she said. "I feel it every time you look at me, like I'm worth the fight." "You are. So are you." That night, we made love slowly. The kind of slow that comes from knowing someone deeply, completely. Her hands on my skin felt like a conversation, one we'd been having for months. I let her take her time, let her mouth trace my body like it was a map. And when she whispered mine against my neck, I whispered yours right back. We fell asleep tangled in each other, my head on her chest, her hand over my heart. Months passed. My body grew stronger. Her studio opened. I published a piece about surviving pain, about falling and choosing to rise again. The article went viral. Not because it was perfect, but because it was true. People sent messages, stories, letters. One woman wrote, "Your story made me believe in mine again." I cried reading that. Riley held me through it. "You're not just walking," she said. "You're leading." We traveled. We cooked together. We argued over which color to paint the bedroom wall. And one night, while brushing our teeth in front of the mirror, she turned to me with foam in her mouth and said, "Now I am proposing." "What?" "You heard me," she said, pulling out another ring from the drawer of all places. Right here, with toothpaste in my mouth and our dog licking my ankle. I burst out laughing. "You're serious?"
Deadly.
"Marry me, toothpaste breath and all." "Yes," I said, laughing and crying all at once. "Yes." We got married in a garden behind the studio, barefoot, surrounded by friends. My mom cried. Her sister gave a toast that made everyone laugh until they nearly passed out. And when we kissed, the sun was setting, and everything I'd ever been afraid of melted away. Because I had her. The woman who took my hand when I couldn't walk. The one who kissed me when I felt unlovable. The one who stayed. And in every life that might come after this one, I'd find her again. And I'd choose her. Every time. Thank you so much for your support, whether it's by liking, commenting, sharing, or sending your super thanks. You make all the difference here on the channel. See you in the next video.